Hey there, YouTube. Just a bloke with a beer here. I actually just had a beer over at the Rio Grande Cafe across the street. But I'm also in another historical place here in Utah. I actually attended the Irish immigrant workers of the Transcontinental Railroad lecture here at the Rio Grande train depot. Um, it's probably one of Utah's grandest buildings. Some architect out of Chicago who mainly built churches actually built this depot as well as another depot out in Idaho, I believe. I'm smoking some goat herder from Tinderbox out of my General Missouri Meerschaum pipe. Now, I probably won't talk a lot about the Denver Rio Grande Railroad. If you want to look them up, go ahead. I know they had a part to play in the railroad wars. But their history here in Utah, they actually built this building back in 1910, finished construction in 1910. It took a lot longer because of the architect's his dispute with the owners of the railroad, mostly over pay. But they got it done, and it was supposed to rival the Union Pacific Railroad building just up the street here, just north of here, which is now the Gateway Mall, and I'll have to do the Union Pacific station later. But the Denver Rio Grande Railroad connected Denver, Colorado with Salt Lake City and other places throughout Utah. It helped move not only passengers but mining materials and cargo. And this building, because it was supposed to rival the Union Pacific Depot, it cost $750,000 back in the day. That's $750,000 in 1910, which I'm not sure how much that is nowadays. Versus the Union Pacific train depot, which cost $300,000 back in the day, and it was completed a year before this building was. But it's kind of funny that they spent so much on this building, and it is a beautiful building, and I'm glad the state owns it now. But before, 60 plus years after this building was complete, the popularity of automobiles pretty much diminished the use of the railroad in the U.S. And so this building, lost its use over time. It became in disrepair. And in the 70s, they sold this building for $1 to the state of Utah. And I'm telling the truth here. They sold the building for $1. I wish I was around. I would have bought it, but I don't think I would have been able to maintain it. I don't have the income for that. But the state of Utah since has been making some restoration work to the building. For a while, the Amtrak used the building up until '99, and then they've taken out all the tracks in the back and have paved it over with road. But yeah, it's a really cool building. It actually now is home to the Utah Department of Heritage and Arts, the Utah Historical Society's office is here, and also their research base, and the Multicultural Affairs offices are also here. I was here, like I said earlier, for the Irish immigrant workers of the railroad lecture earlier, and they actually have a display for those of you outside the United States. It's the 150th anniversary this year of the Transcontinental Railroad, the railroad joining East and West But the event talked about the Irish perspective on the railroad and the troubles they faced, the competition they had with Chinese laborers, especially coming from the Central Pacific side, from California into Utah. But the golden spike that unified and connected both east and west was here at Promontory Point in Utah. And I'll have to go out to to that site and talk about it a little bit. But yeah, it's Utah where the Transcontinental Railroad was completed. This building has a lot of folklore and ghost stories with it too. In fact, there's a lady, they call her the lady in the purple dress, and she's said to haunt the Rio Grande Cafe, just right there, and other parts of the building. And the story is that she had a dispute with her husband over something, and I'm not sure what it was, but she was mad enough to throw her wedding ring into the tracks. Well, apparently she made up for it with him later, and everything was good, and she jumped into the tracks to try and get the ring and got hit and killed by a train. So it's said that her ghost haunts the building, specifically the cafe where the restrooms are, where they say the faucets turn on and off. And I'm not really a paranormal investigator or anything like that. It's not really my style or my thing. So if that is your thing, just know this is one of the spots you got to come check out. But yeah, it's been a great kickoff to the anniversary so far. I know in a couple days, the Union Pacific Big Boy 4014 a steam locomotive is coming into Ogden, Utah. I'm going to try and make it up there, but I don't know if I will be able to. It would be grand to see because that's the largest steam locomotive in the world, and the Union Pacific is still running it. And I think it went out of service for a little bit, but they brought it back online. Got it fixed up and did a couple of test runs with it. And so it's scheduled to come to Ogden City, Utah for the celebration and for the 150th anniversary of the Transcontinental Railroad. But yeah, there's so much history here surrounding the railroad in Utah. It was a big thing until automobiles became popular in the 50s. So the use of the railroad kind of disappeared. But we still have them. It's not like they've completely disappeared. On the west side of the city where I live, trains go by back and forth all the time, mostly transporting cargo. The Union Pacific still has a presence here in the state. I'm not sure about the Denver Rio Grande Railroad, if they're still a functioning railroad or not, but this was their building at one point, and now it's a historical site for the state of Utah. Anyways, I'm going to finish smoking this pipe. It's starting to rain now, so hope you guys stay safe out there, stay dry out there, and wherever you are, happy smoking.